and that will kind of decide where your ACoS will stand. Now, you could mismanage your ads. So you can very easily have an ACoS at 40% that could literally be at 18%. And that comes down to just hands-on management and how your campaigns are set up and how often you're looking at it, and what you're doing with your budgets. So what I wanted to say before we started this, because you mentioned that if you know PPC, well, you know something a lot of people don't. And I got to tell you, so I had last week a client he was a client, calls me and says, hey, listen, the reason why we left you, about a year ago, was because we were going to close down. We were planning on closing the Amazon side because we're mostly on wholesale. On Amazon, they were doing about $30,000 a month. They had a lot of inventory, a lot of SKUs. It was a little complex for them. So anyway, but they said they didn't end up closing, and they hired some other company to manage their ads. I said, okay, and what happened? So he starts telling me something about it, 200%, 150%. I didn't really understand what he was talking about, because he couldn't have been talking about ACoS, because when we were managing it, they were by 28% or so. It's pretty typical. So we log into the account, and he says that they were at 200%, but since he took it back from his manager, they're at 150%. I'm like, what in the world? So the guy ended up spending $20,000 to get $10,000 in sales, in ad sales, and a total of like $18,000 in total sales. They were bleeding so much money. And I'm like, what the hell? No, because the guy was encouraging us, if we spend more, eventually it's just gonna, and two things. So number one, sometimes no, as much as you spend, it's not, for whatever reason, it's just not gonna kick off. It's too much competition, your product sucks, whatever it is, it's not gonna help you. So you really have to know your numbers. Number two, I'm like, who's this guy? And he says, oh, you for sure know him. He's very big in one of the Amazon forums. And I'm like, well, so I look at he's like, if you look at the campaign name, you probably will know. So, it had some letters in there because they usually mark it, they identify. And I'm like, well, it can't be this guy because he's an expert. He's like, no, it's him. I said, what do you mean? This guy's out there every single day talking about metrics and click-through rates and all kinds of stuff, answering questions. The guy is an expert, and he's running ads at 200. I freaked out. I literally freaked out. So you gotta. It's a very simple process. If it doesn't make sense to you, then stop. Just stop, because those numbers don't make sense. And I see a lot of people doing it. It's not unusual for me to go onto an account and watch these numbers. Are like, they don't make sense. Like, how did you get there? Oh, we ran auto campaigns at 90% ACoS, and I don't know, I didn't check it in a while. Like, it's your money. Like, you're spending a lot of money. And then they ask us our fees, and I'm like, you kidding? My fees they're going to be recouped in like 2 days because we're going to stop this runaway spend.
Stop the bleeding, right?
Yeah.
Well, in terms of, I love what you said about just because you're spending more, sometimes it is good to spend more in PPC. If you're doing really well, for example, if you have an extremely low ACoS on a certain keyword that could have better placement and might lead to even more sales, then in that case, it's okay to spend a little more on that bid when you've got room to spend more, right? But I think I know exactly what you're saying in terms of, hey, we spent just because we're spending more doesn't mean we're going to get more results. Sometimes if you don't fix the foundation, you're just going to end up spending. And before you know it, you're going to be paying Amazon to sell your products and running a charity in your business.
Yeah.
So in terms of tracking profit, do you use any tools to kind of help balance that? I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with. When they try and calculate their profits, they can't really figure out, okay, wow, I spent this much in PPC. We were talking about true ACoS, all of that. Do you use any tools to just track the profits or recommend any tools for Amazon sellers to do that?
Yeah, there is a great tool that, you asked. There's a great tool called Connect Books. It was originally designed for QuickBooks. So you can connect the QuickBooks to Amazon and really get a really clear idea of what you're spending on, where your money's going, and what report matches up to, to what month and all that stuff. So that's good. But ultimately, I can only speak for ads. On the ad side, it's very simple. It's a monthly sales and monthly spend, and monthly revenue. It's just very simple. It's all there. So you got to know those numbers. What else?
All right. Well, yeah, I think so. You said Connect Books for QuickBooks, and that'll be. Is that a paid subscription, or is it a free tool, or?
Yeah, no, it's a paid subscription. But yeah, it started with QuickBooks, but I believe you can pretty much use it. I know. I mean, there's so many good tools out there. Helium 10's got some good tools. There's a lot of good tools out there.
So, should sellers have optimization systems in place, and can you give some examples?
Yes, yes, yes. So